So now we have the semantic consideration of causatives. So semantic consideration of causative of Hindi Urdu in Hindi Urdu means causative verbs morphologically indicate that the subject causes someone else to perform the action. So that is the morphology of causative verbs. So where the subject is not directly perform the action, but he needs another object to perform the action, or he needs or the subject needs anyone else to perform the action. That is the basic causative verbs in Urdu Hindi. So in Urdu Hindi, base meaning is usually causes to be, but the actual meaning often extend depending on the verb and context. So that is in terms of meaning. So we can also extend some another meaning by just changing from the first causative to another second causative. So this is particularly important for affective verbs. So verb of giving, teaching, perception, where the literal causes to be is not always the most natural English translation. So we have the example for causative verbs like dekh, which change into the uh, dikhla and dikhalwa, and sun change into the suna and sunwana. And this is the colloquial form of the dikhla. We can also use the dikhana or dikhwana. In some variety we use dikhlana or dikhalwana. Some colloquial variety, not the standard variety. Sun, suna and sunwana. Khana, khilana and khilwana. So that is the another examples for of causatives. We are actually extending some semantic meaning. So that is the natural phenomena of causatives. So we are actually extending the arguments. Pina, pilana, pilwana. Padna, padana, padwana. Seekhna, सिखाना, सिखवाना. गिरना, गिराना, गिरवाना. समझना, समझाना, समझवाना. लिखना, लिखवाना. So here we have some explanation. So even though the causative verbs are morphologically derived by the suffixation or verb, their semantic range often exceed to the literal sense of causes to be. So like khilana literally means causes someone to eat, but is naturally translated as feed or offer food. So that is the uniqueness of Urdu Hindi language, because in Urdu Hindi we have directly the khilana verb, which means causes someone to eat. But it can also used in translation like feed or offer food in this uh, uh, in this form in the English translation. And the other one verb is the pilana. So pilana is literally means causes someone to drink. Dilana derived by de literally means causes to give, but the natural meaning buy for someone, provide for someone. So we do not have directly causative in English, even though in many other languages we do not have these causative verbs, where the verb directly give the meaning of causes to we, means the causes to some other verb, like causes to, like khilana causes to eat, pilana causes to drink, dilana causes to give. So this kind of unique formation we have in Urdu Hindi, which this uniqueness is actually belongs to the causative verbs, but many languages we do not have this kind of verb. So like example, माँ ने मुझे बाजार से नई साड़ी दिलाई. So literally means mother caused someone to give me a new sari from the market. But the natural translation is the mother bought me a new sari from the market. Because the direct dilai, the verb dilai, we do not have. Dilai means not give, not. So dilai can be performed by in the like bought me a new sari. Mother bought me. a new sari from the market. This kind of translation we can have in English. And the same thing with the dilai. So in this, dilai is morphologically causative to of they or give, means causes to give. So the causative relation remains mother caused the action of giving to happen. So, but in the literal translation, cause to give is unnatural in English. So the contextual meaning is buy, provide for something. This kind of things we have in English because we do not have a direct equivalence or direct equivalent, we can say, of the line in Urdu in English. So we can translate by some another contextual meaning, or we can understand by some contextual meaning in English. This kind of examples. There are more example of this in this type, like सिखाया. उस्ताद ने बच्चों को रियाजी सिखाई और उस्ताद ने बच्चों को गणित सिखाई और सिखाया गणित सिखाया. So meaning the teacher taught the children mathematics. So that is the meaning. But the causative relation is the very different. Like children are the recipient of learning, and teacher causes the knowledge transfer. So that is the causative relation in sikhaya. But we do not have the any direct equivalent of sikhaya in English. So taught is actually is for teaching. And in sikhana we have two things, like someone is actually a recipient of learning, and there are other person who causes the knowledge to transfer. So this kind of causes the knowledge of transfer does not we have in English. माँ ने बच्चे को दूध पिलाया. So the causative relation, like mother causes the children to drink, like P into पिलाना. And उसने मुझे तस्वीर दिखाई. He showed me the picture. But the causative relation, the morphology causes to see, but naturally translated as show. But actual meaning in Urdu, so that is the perception, or that is the actually the cognitive relation with the word. So with the dikhai, we have the cognitive in our mind, like causes to see. But in English, it is directly translated as show sometimes, but not for all the verbs. We have the direct equivalence in English for the causative verbs especially. So the key points are, the while causative verbs literally means causes to be, the natural English translation may differ. So the retention of causative relation, so despite the semantic extension, the causative morphology va or va indicate that the agent initiate or mediates an action performed by someone else. So that is the main uh, formation of the causatives. So the common semantic extension like sun, sunana, sunwana, dekh, dikhana. So for sun we are using here in English, and for sunana we are using tell or narrate. So that is a different verb. It is not actually means not derived from the here, the verb here. So because this tell and narrate is not derived from the here, and sunana is actually sunana is derived from the sun. Dekhna is derived from the dekh, but see and show is the two other types of verbs. And verb of action, consumption, like khana, khilana, eat and feed, pina, pilana, drink and give drinks. Because of pilana, for the pilana, we do not have the direct verb. Give the drink, give drink. Verb of learning and knowledge, like padna, padana. So read and teach. Sikhna, sikhana, learn and teach skills. So like for sikhana, we have teach, and for padana we have also teach. But for sikhana we can use teach skills. So this kind of direct equivalence we do not have for sikhana in English. Because sikhana is the causative verbs. It is actually causes to teach or causes to learn. Verb of possession or provision, like they become dilana, give to buy and provide of. So that is the natural things, the natural causatives. So which are in English are not occur naturally, so we can translate by some other words or by some other contextual meaning. So now we have the formation rules for causative. So that is the some final explanation, like causative verbs are derived from non-causative base verb to the indicate the subject, cause or another entity to perform the action. So Urdu-Hindi implies the both morphological derivation and the lexical causative. So most of the time Urdu-Hindi derive the first causative and second causative, or the direct causative and indirect causative from the base form, like from sometimes from intransitive and sometimes from the transitive, which is the base form. And sometimes we also have some lexical causatives, which is not derived from that particular process. So in the first causative, we are adding a or va, like gir, girana, chal, chalana, sun, sunana, pad, padana. So that is the first causative. So indicate the subject causes someone to some or something to perform the action. So that is the rule or the formation for the first causative. So like गिर गिराना, लकड़हारे ने पेड़ गिराया, नानी ने राधा को कहानी सुनाई. In second causative, we are adding va or via. So after the first causative form, to create a second causative which adds one more argument to the verb structure, because the verb structure, uh, so when we are changing from first causative into the second causative, so now it will take one more argument, because verb structure actually needs one more argument in the second causative. Like गिरना गिराना become गिरवाना, नौ मालिक ने नौकर से पेड़ गिरवाया, चलाना become चलवाना, मालिक ने नौकर से गाड़ी चलवाई, सुनाना become सुनवाना, माँ ने नानी से बच्चों को कहानी सुनवाई. So it needs four arguments. माँ ने माँ ने नानी से बच्चों को कहानी सुनवाई, पढ़ाना become पढ़वाना, माँ ने बच्चों को किताब पढ़ाई, एंड माँ ने मास्टर जी से बच्चों को पढ़वाया और बच्चों को किताब पढ़वाई. So like causative of गिराना, so ठेकेदार ने लकड़हारे से पेड़ गिरवाया. So it in the second causative it needs, because the गिराया is the intransitive verb, so it needs a three argument. लकड़हारे से पेड़ गिरवाया. सुनवाना, like माँ ने नानी से राधा को कहानी सुनवा रही है. So this सुनवा is the verb which needs the four कहानी, राधा, nani and ma. There are four arguments in sunwana. Because sunwana is a transitive verb, so because it derives from the transitive. But transitive already has the two arguments. Now we have some irregular forms, so which does not follow that kind of morphology that we have, like va or a. Like we have the base form like fake. The first causative will be fake, fakewana, which is also used, and like rakhwana. So it doesn't take the first argument. Kha, khilana, khilwana. P, pilana, pilwana. So because it ends with the e, so we are adding some a or va suffix to just to drive uh, the first causative and second causative in this case. Like माँ ने बच्चे को दूध पिलाया, एंड उसने गाड़ी पार्किंग में रखवाई. उसने गाड़ी पार्किंग में रखवाई. And the other types of formation, we have the lexical causative. So these are the verbs which are inherently causatives, and they do not show the transparent morphological derivation, but they express the causation. So in this case, we are not making or deriving those verbs by some morphological suffixation into the causatives, like majboor karna, तैयार करना, राजी या सहमत करना. So we have the example like, so in this example शिक्षक ने बच्चों को परियोजना तैयार करने के लिए मजबूर किया. So in this case the मजबूर किया is which is the causative verb, which is inherently a causative verb. So it is we can say like some types of complex verb. So here we have two things like मजबूर and किया. And the other, उन्होंने दोस्त को पार्टी में आने के लिए राजी किया. So राजी किया is another causative verbs, which is the inherently causative verbs. So the explanation here, the causative is lexical, not formed by some suffixation process like a or va. So we are not driving these verbs by some suffixation process, but they are the lexical causatives. So the causative relationship is semantic even without a morphological marker. So in this case, we can say it is not the some verbs does not needs any morphological marker to show the causatives or the causativeness, but they have the some semantic relationship for causatives. There are some exceptions also in the causative verbs. So like not all the verb can form the causatives. So like so some verbs, especially those that describe the motion, natural process, they cannot be causativized by the causative by this suffixation, by the causative process. Like the verb ana. So they cannot be changed into the causative like anvana, or the another word is jana. The jana cannot be changed into the janvana because they are the motion verb like ana and jana, so they cannot change into the causatives by the morphological this suffixation process. So the explanation is that motion verb already include the direction or the and agency inherent to the subject. So the action of coming and going cannot be externally caused by another agent in a grammatical sense because they are already in motion or in direction and there is some agency like ana and jana, so they have already some agent. Somebody is performing that action. So like Bilal आया, so Bilal is the agent who come. Mariam ने बिलाल को अनवा आया, so that is not correct. It is ungrammatical. So this is the ungrammatical. So in C, the Urdu Hindi uses the periphrastic construction like analytical causative. So Mariam ने बिलाल को बुलाया. We are not say अनवाया. So this can be actually replaced or used by the bulaya. So here this explains the similar meaning but use it in by the different verb. Like in English we have feed to khilaya, khana for eat, change into the feed. So same thing like ana into bulana. So the motion verbs resist morphological causatives. So another examples of exception like natural process like khilna, फूल खिलना, उगना, पौधे उगना. So these cannot be changed into the causatives like khilwana. So because it is naturally natural process verbs. There is no some agent who is doing like khilna. So the explanation, these verbs describe the natural or spontaneous events. They have no volitional intentional agent for khilna or ugna. So since the causative derivation requires a causer and animate or controlling agent, so such verbs cannot take that form. So that external causer they cannot take like khilna and ugna. They are the natural process verbs. So that is the key reason behind the lack of volitional agent in this in these verbs. So the causativization requires a animate volitional subject, someone who can intentionally cause an event. So there is no animate action or the animate subject or the animate doer of action, or we can say the agent is not here in this natural process verbs. So the verb subject is inanimate or the event happens naturally, causativization becomes semantically impossible or ungrammatical. So in this the natural happening verb or the inanimate subject, we cannot have this kind of causativization or the subject which is causes to perform an act, which is actually causes to perform the action on the object. Now we have case marking in causatives. So that is very common. First causative, or we can say that the direct causative has two arguments. One is the causer and the other is causee. So causer is the subject who causes another object to perform the action. So which is the causee. So each participant is marked by a specific postposition or case marker according to the grammatical and semantic rule. So in this case, like causer has special types of postposition, means the some unique, like most of the time ne, and causey can have co, and theme would can be without postposition sometimes. So first is the ergative name marker to the highest agent, which is the causer. लाइक माँ ने बच्चे को सोने के लिए भेजा, या माँ ने बच्चे को सुलाया. So in this case, Mane is the agent which needs a name marker, and Bacheko is the object which needs a co-marker. So which is the ergative case is actually assigned to the highest subject or the highest agent, which is the subject of the sentence. And the dative co or the accusative co is actually marks for the causee or the recipient. Like माँ ने बच्चे को खिलाया. So in this case, माँ ने बच्चे को, which is the object which needs a co-marker, which is the accusative co-marker. So explanation for this: the bacha is the causee performing the eating action due to the mother's influence. So co-marks for the recipient or the affected participant, or we can say the patient. So it is actually co is actually marked for the recipient or the patient. And say is actually the post position or the case marking for the new introduced agent in the second causatives. Like ठेकेदार ने मजदूर से दीवार गिरवाई. ठेकेदार ने दीवार गिराई. So but when we are adding the मजदूर से, so it is actually occurs with the say case marker. So that is the intervening. So in this case, the explanation: ठेकेदार with the causer highest agent which needs a ne, and the मजदूर is the intervening agent. So in this, it take the say argument, and the divar is the object which can be without any case marker. So that the say is identified as an agent acting under someone's command. So it is actually agent, but not directly. It is the agent. It is the intervening agent. So the zero marker for the object or the theme, which is the direct object, like बच्चे ने सेब खाया, माँ ने किताब दी, बच्चे ने कहानी सुनी, माँ ने बच्चे को कहानी सुनाई, माँ ने नानी से बच्चे को कहानी सुनवाई. So in this case, the kahani is the direct object or the theme which does not need any suffix or any case marking. So in this case, we have save, and kitab is the zero marking, means it does not need any case marking. So now we have some obligatory agreement also in this causatives. So it is there are three types of agreement, like gender, number, and case agreement are maintained with causative verbs forms. So like the causative verb agree, the main object of action is gender, and number especially in the perfect tense. So adjective modify the object also agree with the gender, number, and oblique form where it is required. So like नानी ने छोटी बच्ची को कहानी सुनाई, या माँ ने नानी से छोटी बच्ची को कहानी सुनवाई. So कहानी and सुनवाई has the agreement because there is no case marking in the kahani. So there is no postposition. If there is no postposition, so it is open for the agree with the causative verbs. So if in any case if for example we have the example like ठेकेदार ने नौकर से पेड़ को गिरवाया, और पेड़ गिरवाए या पेड़ गिरवाया या टहनी गिरवाई. So it has the agreement, but when we have like पेड़ को गिरवाया, so the को is the suffix or the case marker. So in this case, it does not agree. But when the object is open for agreement, it does not have any case marker or the postposition, so it will agree according to the number, gender, and sometimes it is comes and also the case agreement. So the agreement ensures the grammatical coherence and reflect the syntactic role of object in causative construction. So that is the agreement, so we can understand it is when most of the time in the causative we have the subject with the name marker and object with the co-marker. So the another direct object which is open for agreement because it does not have any case marking. So the causative verbs in Urdu Hindi are morphologically and semantically productive, allowing the speaker to express control, mediation, and indirect action. So there are two types of action. There is direct action or the indirect action. So in indirect action, we are having another mediating agent, and they involve the balancing increase, often changing the intransitive verb to transitive, and transitive verb changing to the ditransitive. And while the most formed regularly by a and va suffix, and there are some also some irregular and lexical causatives, and there are some another verbs which does not change into the causative in Urdu Hindi, like natural process verbs and the other verbs. Thank you.